Thanks for stopping by the Reaction Lounge. My name is Eric Wilford Watson, and as most of the time, or some of the time, or now and then, I'm joined by my friend Steve.
I'm Steve. Today, guys, we are a little late to this topic, but the two of us being the two of us, it's a topic we have to discuss. Today, we are going to talk about The Penguin, specifically the series that HBO Max did with Colin Farrell's adaptation of it. We've got to talk about it. What do you think?
Well, I put like a quick little initial reaction, like 5-minute video on the channel because I couldn't wait.
Yep.
We were both, involved in our own personal lives where we couldn't really just jump on the channel and record together. But I think it's probably a good thing that it's had a chance to sort of ferment in my brain a little bit. I have more thoughts on it probably than maybe if I would have done the reaction like the day of or the, but I absolutely, it's growing on me. The further along since the show has ended, the more congeals in my brain, the more I think it's absolutely brilliant.
I agree. I think that from it was interesting for the first time, at least that I've ever seen, having a villain be your main character. Mm-hmm. I thought was a really interesting take.
And not just an anti-hero, but a full-on...
But a full villain. From the get, this is one of the original Rogues Gallery villains for Batman. And to have him be center stage was really interesting. And I think what did it for me the most was you go through 90% of this series and he almost feels like more of an anti-hero. Mm-hmm. You can't help but root for the guy. And then at the very end, they came back and reminded you nah, he's a bad guy. And they did it so tastefully.
Yeah, Colin Farrell said in an interview that the last episode was really brutal. And the first episode, he's kind of sympathetic and then he gets less so. But by that 8th episode, there's a scene that he said, you won't have to ask me which scene it was. And he's absolutely right. But one thing that I think is pretty smart, and this is one of the reasons I'm glad we're talking about a little bit after the fact, is that it shows you your own dark side a little bit because you root for him.
Yeah.
You know that he's evil. You're watching him literally murder people.
Yep.
But he is a man who has a goal.
Yep.
And it's hard not to see somebody with a goal. You want to see that person achieve their goal, even if it's a horrible, horrible, horrible goal. Mm-hmm. But from his perspective, it really wasn't that horrible, at least initially. And then as he got more and more involved, more and more people were killed, you realize he just doesn't give a shit about anybody except himself.
Yep. I think something that is underplayed by people that I have talked to about the series is your support characters within this, right? Obviously there's Vic. He was a big one and he was a fun character to watch. But to have even the supporting mafia families, right? And the role that they played within it. Again, these are all bad people, but the way that they were done for a while, they were positioned as the really bad people, right? And I think it was, and I forget how to enunciate her last name. What was her mother's maiden name?
Falcone?
Yeah, but was when she took over as her new Gigante?
Gigante.
Okay. That character, Sophia, holy insert bleep, 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 bleep. That was so well cast. She played that character so well. And especially what she did with the little girl, right? She's like, you're innocent in all of this. Let me bring you out to the green room so I can whack your whole family real quick. It was just so brilliantly done.
Mostly, though, because she saw herself in the little girl. It wasn't because she had empathy. She sort of projected herself on that younger girl.
Fair.
But, when you first meet her, she's got the wide eyes. Yeah. She's got the hair kind of dangling over her eyelash. So when she blinks, the little hair twitches. It just adds just a little bit of craziness.
Yep.
Is she really bonkers? Or is she really... Well, what's going on?
Yeah.
Is she just evil? Is she crazy? But it turns out she's not really crazy.
Nope.
She was really the victim for a long time, but oh boy, did she get her revenge.
Yeah, she did. And that was a character I was really happy to see them do what they did. The twist at the end I did not see coming, and I think for years to come...
You're talking about Vic?
No. I mean, Vic was a big twist for me. But his projection onto his girlfriend...
Oh.
With that whole weird mother dance thing.
Yeah, where she's impersonating his mom.
Yeah. I was...
A little Freudian.
A little weird, man. I was sitting in my living room and I physically what?
At first, I thought he was just imagining dancing with her mom, and then
Right.
it clicked that it was that prostitute girlfriend.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, that's an extra level of ick.
Yep. And then the Vic thing, I said, no! And here's the thing, I knew Vic was going to die. Like, he had to die. But I didn't think it was going to be Penguin that did it.
Yeah, I thought Penguin was going to try to avenge him in some certain way. Like, Vic was going to get killed by the Maronis or whatever. You know, or,
That's when I figured it would have happened. And then that would have kind of pushed him over the edge, that last bit to just go pure evil. I didn't think he was going to be part of the pure evil.
and that's what they wanted the audience to think.
Yep.
What I think is really smart, and this is something that kind of came into later, is your realization that Penguin is really, really the bad guy. I mean, it's bad guy versus worst guy, but that's not really true. Penguin is the worst person in the show.
Yep.
He's the one you don't want to win, even though you've been rooting for him the whole time.
Yes.
We realize that about the same time Vic does.
Yes.
And it's too late. So we basically are Vic. We're willing to go along with things that we know are immoral because we're following this guy who is charismatic.
Yep.
And that's real human psychology. In real life, people have fallen for charismatic leaders that had them do horrible, horrible things that they knew were wrong, but they're following a charismatic leader. This person was us. We were sucked along into following this charismatic leader, and then we were shown how wrong we were for doing that. And I think that's brilliant.
You know, I never looked at it that way. But when you say it, damn. Now, something that I'm looking forward to seeing how they flesh it out further is Sophia got a letter at the end of the series.
Yes.
From supposedly her stepsister, if I'm remembering
Half-sister.
correctly. Half-sister, Selena Kyle. So that begs the question now of when does that come into play? Will it come into play? And I have two theories on it, but I'd love to hear yours first.
I don't have any theories per se, but I thought it was neat. I kind of forgot that Falcone was Catwoman's daughter until that letter came in. I'm like, oh. And now that Catwoman's out there,
Yep.
Sophia isn't dead. For whatever reason, Penguin thought it would be worse to let her go back into, she would probably have preferred death over going back to Arkham. So he did her dirty by not killing her.
Yep.
But she's alive, and I appreciate that they don't kill off all the villains. They have to have more interactions. This could potentially create a really huge rogues gallery universe if they focus, like if they ever do like a Catwoman TV show.
So that's one of my theories actually, is that they're either going to now introduce some level of involvement with Sophia in the Batman Part 2, or we're not going to see maybe a whole lot of Selena in the Batman Part 2, but maybe she's the one next up to get her own series after Part 2 comes out.
That would be cool. I would be all about that.
I would be too, especially because they did a very more down-to-earth take on Catwoman, like what they did with Penguin. So I think it'd be very interesting.
I appreciate that they seem to be laying the groundwork of something interesting and taking their time. I'm a little nervous because James Gunn said that he is excited for Penguin 2, but he's still waiting on the first draft of a script from Matt Reeves.
A Penguin season 2?
No, Batman.
Oh,
the
Batman
2.
Gotcha. Okay. Yep.
It was pushed back from 25 to 26.
Yep.
So I'm like, what's taking so long to write the damn script? But I guess if you just want to get it right.
Court of Owls.
Yeah.
Sorry. Just something in my throat there.
Yeah.
One thing that I did, and I'm going to go off on a slight tangent to this here real quick, but I'm interested now back in the realm of the Batman Part 2, because if what you brought to my attention is Clayface is supposedly getting a standalone movie, so I'm wondering if that removes him from the rumorville of being involved in the Batman Part 2.
Yeah, I saw the announcement for the Clayface movie, and I don't know if it's going to be in the Reeves universe or the DCU, but I think the DCU.
I think that would make the most sense. But then we did get a confirmation that the Batman Part 2 takes place in the winter, which kind of eggs a little bit more towards Mr. Freeze.
Okay.
I don't know. But anyway, back on Penguin. I mean, they did a great job. I have nothing bad to say about this series. I hope that is the tone that they keep with more series like that. I hope they keep that tone obviously going through with the Batman films. I think this is the best live action adaptation of the Batman universe that we have seen in a very long time.
At least on the small screen.
At least on the small screen.
I hope Colin Farrell gets an Emmy. If anybody deserves the best acting thing, I saw a picture of him talking in his regular voice in the Penguin makeup, and it just threw me off. Like, you can't have an Irish accent.
You can't do that. It doesn't run. The brain doesn't compute.
But yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. The acting was good. The set pieces are good. It feels enough like the real world where you can accept a little bit of comic bookiness to it. It seems like I don't know how to describe it. It's just like it's like 10% more surreal than the real world is, but not too much where it's cartoony and silly.
To quote Matt Reeves, it's on the edge of fantastical without ever going full fantastical.
Mm-hmm. I mean, just by the mere existence of a city that doesn't exist, it's fantastical. But there's nobody. That's why I'm really grateful and hopeful that they do this right, where they're keeping the Batman universe separate from the DCU and building them both side by side as two parallel realities. I think that'd be great if they could pull that off. Mm-hmm. You get the fantastical stuff with the DCU and the new Superman movie that's coming out next year. So we'll see, though. I just watched Creature Commandos, and that is not a positive, optimistic version. It's a cartoon murder fest, but we can talk about that in our next video when we recap the 2024 stuff. But do you have anything else to say on the Penguin and the upcoming? It's amazing. I love it. I'll watch it again. It's going to be on my background stuff now. I will put that on just because I love it that much. I love the ambiance. I love that version of Gotham City so much. Yep. I love it. Make sure, guys, to hit that like button. Give this video a like. Hit that subscribe button. Maybe share the show with a couple of people. And as always, cheers. Cheers, folks.